What is up, my aesthetic boys? It's Fresh, back with another video. On today's episode, we take a trip down memory lane to the land of entitled person stories, and boy, let me tell ya, they didn't get any less entitled. No receipt equals no returns. No tags equals no returns. Clearance, jewelry, watches, sale items, no returns. Yes, Karen, this sign is good enough. Try me. No, Karen. We do not have to mention the return policy at the initial sale. Our return policy is printed on the back of the receipt. The details are also on the website. And no, Karen, you are not going to speak to the manager. No, Karen, I am not going to call anyone for you. What? That has to be illegal. There has to be someone I can talk to. Coworker says the way I dress makes her self-conscious. I am an essential worker. I don't know why, but I love that they put essential worker in quotations. Anyhow, I work in a factory and I wear a uniform, but I still come in dressed how I normally dress. I love to wear skirts and decorative tights under my ripped jeans, bodysuits, crop tops, etc. I'm pretty slim and petite. So, one of my coworkers is the same age as me, F20, and she's a bit on the curvier side. She always comes in sweatpants and baggy sweaters. I've seen her outside of work before, and she does put effort in her appearance when she wants to. One day, we were changing back into our normal clothes when I caught her staring at me. I asked her if everything was okay, and she just shrugged and walked out without saying anything. So I ordered this cute yellow plaid skirt, and since the quarantine, I haven't been able to wear it, so I decided to wear it to work. Walking in, I saw my coworker sitting in the break room talking to some other people. I go over to the table I usually sit and start chatting with some coworkers while I put my stuff in its place. One of the guys is this man in his 40s with a daughter close to my age. He said he liked my skirt and might get one for his kid. This caught her attention, and my coworker asked why he would allow his daughter to dress like a slut. This made people stop and stare at her. When she realized what she said, she just got up and walked out of the break room and into the locker room. Upset, I followed her in and just saw her changing into her uniform. I asked her why she would say anything like that, and all she said is, "I have no reason to explain myself to you." I told her, "Considering you were talking about me, I think you do." She huffed and said that I'm obviously trying to get people to look at me and expect that every girl has to dress like this. That I was begging for attention and how I made her self-conscious. First off, I don't dress for other people. I dress for myself. I basically flipped it on her by saying, well, I don't like the way you dress because you're making people think that girls should take pride in the way they look. She says, I don't give a shit what people think about me, which I reply with, then why do you care so much about how I dress? Her response was, because no normal person dresses like that. You look stupid and people think you're a freak. She leaves the locker room all smug as if she just won this fight, but because of her little outburst in the break room, people started giving her the side eye. She noticed this and now blames me for making people think that she is a bad person. Alright, look, to start off, this is obviously not OP's fault. As long as her attire, the skirt, the whatever was within whatever company standards are set for such attire, there's nothing to really complain about. Actually, you know what? That. OP said she literally wore it into work, and then you changed into a uniform. This EP turning a yellow skirt into some weird, slut-shaming, self-validation pity fest is not just stupid, it's f***ing dumb. Police break up family's 18th birthday celebration. Quote, they thought social distancing shouldn't apply to them. This shit is honestly nuts. Picture this, it's April 4th, 2020. Rona cases have passed 40,000 in the UK. Your boy Boris Johnson issued a nationwide stay-at-home order like 2 weeks ago, and you decide it's a grand ol' idea to get the gang back together for the big 1A. And I don't just mean like a couple relatives came over to cut the cake. They had 25 people in this shoebox of a living room. What's the big deal with 18 anyway? What's to celebrate? You gotta pay taxes? You can get drafted? You flip to the criminal side of statutory? Ooh, accidentally cut myself on all that edge there. My bad, guys. Entitled man steals my plane seat. So this happened 3 years ago. I was flying home from Belgium. To clarify, I was flying from Schiphol. I can't pronounce European city names. So technically not Belgium I was flying out of, but only direct flight I could get, where I'd been attending my best friend's wedding. I was very sick at the time, but I was her sole bridesmaid and witness, so I couldn't miss it. Not to mention, I was the one decorating the venue. If you want a summary of how sick I was, the girl who did my makeup for the day actually jerked her hand back when she first touched my face. I was that hot. Anyway, this story isn't about the wedding, but the flight back home from Scotland. I must have looked awful because when I arrived early at the gate and struck up a conversation with the flight attendants asking how their day was going, etc., while waiting to board, they ensured I got my seat first and told me if I needed anything to call them, and they brought me a bottle of water and something to nibble on before the plane even took off. I had a window seat, which I always get. I love flying, and I love looking out at the water, and I'd also paid for extra legroom as I have a f***ed up leg, and if it's bent in one position for too long, it locks up. The plane was nearly fully boarded, and it seemed like besides me and the person in the aisle seat, no one would be in our row, which was awesome. I always liked having an extra seat in the middle for extra room. However, sadly, this was not to be, as one of the very last passengers to board was a rather drunk and, let's say, portly man. He shambled into the seat and sat down. I prepared myself for a flight next to someone who smelled like a pub while I already felt sick. The plane takes off and we're in the air, and all through the flight, the guy keeps leaning more and more into my space, clearly trying to get to see out the window. I actually leaned back a bit to let him see out, figuring this might be his first flight and trying to be kind, but this only seems to make it worse. Now, for context, I am a tiny woman, so I was quite literally getting crushed between this guy and the wall. I get up to go to the bathroom as my stomach has finally decided it's time to vacate. The man is quite annoyed that he has to move to let me out, but he does so with only a grumbled protest. I go to the bathroom and take care of business and then return, and what do I find? The man in my window seat with all his stuff on the middle seat. I ask him to move back to his seat so I can sit down, but he refuses and tells me it's his seat and begins to kick up a huge fuss. At this point, one of the flight attendants comes over to figure out what's going on. He tells the whole story about how this is his seat and I'm trying to steal it, not knowing the flight attendant we're talking to, shout out to Kevin, was the one who'd gotten me seated in the first place. The flight attendant turned to me and, smiling, asked if I had my ticket. I'd taken my handbag with me to the bathroom as I never leave it unattended, so I was able to present it. He then read my ticket and with a eating grin told the guy who'd stolen my seat that it was indeed my seat, but not to worry, he could keep it. He then turned to me and told me they had a free seat in first class and he was giving me an upgrade, so he took me to first class and I got a really nice rest of my flight. Well, like my dad used to tell me before the war, nothing gets the blood pumping quite like an entitled person story at 40,000 feet. The stakes are higher both figuratively and literally, drunk assholes are abundant, flight attendants are the de facto keepers of peace, and in the event that a story gets really good, an emergency landing might even be in the works. I think the only thing that really pisses me off about this story is that even though our protagonist, our main character, our heroine OP gets a surprise first class upgrade, the drunk, belligerent, entitled guy still got a window seat. I kinda wish there had been some way for him to continue suffering for his utter and absolute headassery. Dear millennials, stop saying Karen. Karen is a sexist and racist term equivalent to the N-word for white women. Calling a woman Karen is an attempt to get rid of women's rights to stand up for themselves. Yes, the K-word is stronger than the N-word, at least currently. Misogyny and patriarchy have been around longer than slavery. Just don't use either, okay? Oh, honey, no, no, please don't. Huh, yeah, I don't know. Alright, Karen, whatever you say. My ex-friend gets really upset when I go to bed. She doesn't think I need to sleep and will actually block you if you don't answer her right away. I deal with chronic pain and I go to bed early because I am in pain a lot. I'm in my mid-20s and deal with severe endometriosis, arthritis, and fibromyalgia. She got mad at me and said, "Why won't you answer me? Why do you ignore me? I think we shouldn't talk for a couple days because you went to bed without telling me. Why do you have to go to bed so early? You act like an old lady, lol. What the fuck?" Seriously, this happened. I ended up blocking her. I can't deal with manipulative, self-entitled, and toxic people. She would actually get mad at me if I went to bed and not tell her because I didn't answer my phone. And honestly, this goes a bit deeper. OP prefaces the post with a brief description of their severe illnesses that they have to deal with, conditions which cause chronic pain, often making it difficult for them to do anything but lie down, sleep, go to bed early, etc. While this no doubt exacerbates the assholish behavior of their so-called friend in mocking her sleep habits, I think that it doesn't even have to be that aggressive. Even if you're perfectly healthy, don't put up with people who get really upset when you don't immediately respond to texts or DMs. If you're asleep, if you don't have your phone on you, maybe you see a message but you're too busy to respond, that's okay. Don't let someone manipulate you into thinking otherwise. Definitely good for OP to block that person. That's a level of toxicity that nobody should have to deal with. My mom and I having a discussion. Me gives a valid argument. My mom: I carried you for 9 months. Whoa, but I swear to God, it's every time. It's every fucking... It's the default, at least for some. It's the default. Sucks, but to be completely fair, she did. Don't necessarily have to agree with her, but you gotta respect that she's your mother. Or not. I think that's somehow gonna be a divisive opinion. Entitled neighbor expects my gardener to clean her garden for free. Ooh, that sounds weirdly sexual. I don't think I like it. This happened recently. I live in a unit complex, 20 units, where most of the neighbors know each other or have spoken at one point or another. One of the neighbors, Ben, has a lawnmower and mows everyone's lawn for free. This is important for later on. I've been in isolation because of COVID-19 for the past month and have been getting extra money from the government lately that I don't need. So I decided to put that money to good use and hire a gardener to fix up my front and back garden. The front garden is a complete mess. For the past 2 weeks, he's been coming in and going to fix up my front garden in small increments, not interacting with me directly for obvious reasons. This happened yesterday when my gardener was working on my front garden. One of my neighbors, Jessica, came up to the gardener. I have security cameras outside so I can see what's going on in the driveway, and began complimenting him on his great work. I popped my head out so I could hear what was being said, but they couldn't see me. Yeah, that looks really good. I think you're doing like a really nice job. She started getting over complimentary, and I had a sneaking suspicion of what she was getting at. Jessica, not knowing I was around the corner and could hear everything: you're doing such a good job here. Do you think you could work on my garden after you're done here? I don't think OP would mind. Me now coming around the corner. Oh, hi Jessica, what's up? Jessica realizes she's busted and says, oh, hi OP. Well, I was saying what a good job your gardener has done so far. Oh, also, do you think he'd mind doing my garden as well? Well, I'm sure he wouldn't mind. It's $30 an hour or $300 for the whole day. What? No, I'm not paying for it. You hired a gardener, so it's your responsibility to do my garden as well. No, I hired a gardener to do my garden. It's not up for me to pay for your garden to be done as well. But Ben mows the lawns for free. Your gardener should do my backyard for free too. Sorry, Jessica, but if you want a private gardener, you're gonna have to pay for it like everyone else. But I'm on a disability pension and can't afford that. Clearly, you can. Look, I'm on a disability pension too, so don't even try that with me. I spend my money on important things, not the alcohol I see you buying all the time. Whoa! Whoa, let's throw the brakes on real quick. Let's slow it down a quick sec. Holy shit, OP! Wow, getting aggressive here. That's, woo! Yeah, so unless you're gonna pay for his time, please let him get back to work. Jessica huffed and stomped off, and I haven't heard a peep from her since, but give it time. I'm sure she'll be back soon enough to get more things for free. Honestly, I just picture the poor fucking gardener standing between these two people, just like yelling back and forth about how much they hate the other person or how much they think the other person's shit. And they're like, all right, whose garden am I doing now? Also, if you think about, you know, taking care of the front garden, making sure the back garden is in good shape, you think about that sexually, this post has a wildly different meaning. And with that, I definitely need to stop fucking reading Reddit. Or at the very least, stop reading today.